from a beer ferry. We're in scenic Gurnee, Illinois at the Only Child Brewing Company. Let's head on in and have a cold beer. Only Child is located in a Gurnee industrial park. You might want to use Google Maps to find it. The crowd is an interesting mix of customers, students, warehouse workers, office workers. The interior is industrial minimalistic. It has concrete floors, and they don't offer any food, but you can bring food in. There's plenty of bar space, and it's easy to get a drink. The brewery is clean and dog and child friendly. We had the opportunity to meet with brewmaster and owner Ben Rossi, and I asked Ben about his brewery.
We were in a little warehouse with some of my homebrew equipment, bottling beers by hand. And then we moved here in the summer to Gurnee in the summer of 2015.
Right.
So we'll be celebrating our 6-year anniversary here in the tap room this August.
And so, what's your top seller?
No Way Jose. If you take every other beer that we brew, No Way Jose outsells all of them combined 3-1.
Really?
Yep, we brew it every 3 weeks. Yep.
What's the bread and butter?
It is 100%. It is hoppy enough for people to. It's hoppy enough for the hophead, pale ale, IPA seekers. It's also citrusy, drinkable, and approachable enough for the novices, people new to craft, or people just looking for something light and easy to drink. So it kind of. That beer, other than if you're a dark beer drinker, other than that, it fires on all cylinders for most people. So we just crush it with that.
The No Way Jose Pale Ale that Ben spoke about was brewed with agave and lime zest, and its alcohol content is 5.3%. But the brewery features several beers that appeal to lager and pilsner fans. The first one is the Brewer's Lunch Lager. It's a dry hopped lager. It's a little bit bolder, and it clocks in at 5.5% alcohol. The Lumbersexual Lager is a Vienna-style lager, and that also clocks in at 5.5%. Tantrum Hefe has a standard banana nose and is very smooth and drinkable. It comes in at 5.1%. They had another German Pilsner there called the Rassenmacher, but unfortunately they were out of that one, and that has an alcohol content of 5.2%. I asked Ben how he got started and advice for those homebrewers looking to strike out on their own.
And their head brewer was a guy named Matt, and they invited me to their facility to collaborate and brew one of my homebrew recipes on a commercial scale. And at that point, I was just geeking out. I mean, imagine a brewery inviting you, like, hey, let's brew one of your homebrew recipes. So we did that, and we released it at this big German. There's a facility in Chicago called the Donk House. It's on the north side. It's a big German cultural center,
Right.
and they had this big party, this big festival, and it was a beer festival at the Donk House, hundreds of people, and we released my beer that I brewed with them at that facility, and they invited me to come pour. And then I remember my wife came with me that night, and everyone was coming up and asking me about the beer, and I was with the owners and the brewers, and I remember at that point looking over at my wife and saying, "This is what I got to do. We're doing this."
Yeah. Nice. What type of inspiration can you offer to them? I mean, not that you want to put breweries out there right now, but what would you say to a home brewer who is passionate about it? What could you offer to them as inspiration?
I would say if you're homebrewing and you love it and you feel it in your core, like this is something you want to do, don't ever forget that or lose that sense, because if you're a home brewer and you turn your passion into what you do for a life's work, it's very easy to lose sight of how you started and how you got there. Because at the end of the day, once you feel like you're up to your ears in craziness, and you forget that. You know, it's you just gotta, you know, really make sure that it's something feasible that you can do, and that you're not going to forget that. You know, that's one thing. I've definitely forgotten the passion because of financial things, but I've never forgotten it when it comes to the beers that I make, the recipes that I design, and just on brew days. There's nothing better on brew days, just the smells and the sensory aspect of brewing beer, and the you know, the joy of hitting a recipe and the final product being exactly what you intended, and being in the tap room and seeing customers enjoy your products. Like, those are things that has kept me from going back to anything sort of negative. It's just the local support during this pandemic has been unbelievable. I mean, even though sales have been down, even though costs have been up, this community and we have such a core group of regulars and followers, and we're such an avid member of our community here. The support has been unbelievable. We wouldn't have made it through without it.
Strong community support helped Only Child survive the pandemic. But how does the Only Child Brewery stack up with a beer fairy? Only Child gets a wave of the fairy wand because of its strong lager and lighter beer representations. If you want to hear more beer reviews, subscribe to our YouTube channel or visit our website at beerfairytales.com.